Next week, the game Black Myth: Wukong will be available for sale, which will be another production after Alan Wake 2, showing the possibilities of path tracing, also called full ray tracing in marketing. A few days ago, the Game Science Studio published a special benchmark on Steam that allows you to test graphics cards for performance in the upcoming game. The computer version of Black Myth: Wukong uses, among others, indirect lighting with multiple reflection of light rays, which allows light to be reflected twice, thus creating more realistic lighting and ambient occlusion. In the PC version, it is also possible to track particle effects using ray tracing, which allows you to render reflections from attacks, explosions, and fire. With path tracing enabled, all shadows and reflections, including on the water, they also look more natural. The latter, after PT activation, is characterized by advanced caustics, highlighting places of refraction and reflection on the surface. Ryzen 9000 released. AMD Ryzen 9000 processors are the direct successors of the Ryzen 7000 processors released in September 2022. The differences between new and older processors are not drastic, but sufficient to be felt in the systems themselves. This is visible, for example, in the density of transistors in the main core matrix CCD, which is almost 27% higher than in Zen 4 CCD Ryzen 7000. The second key issue is the power consumption of lower Ryzen 9000 models, which have a TDP of only 65 watts instead of 105 watts, as in the Ryzen 7000 series counterparts. In the previous generation, only units without the X Note had 65 watts. Ryzen 99900X is also lower, 120 watts instead of 171. The exception is the top model, Ryzen 99950X. Importantly, AMD 800 chipsets will be available at the end of the third quarter. Sales of new motherboards will start from September 2024. Substance 3D Designer 14 released. Substance 3D Designer 14.0 brings several quality of life improvements like graph navigation, performances, but above all it includes a lot of new nodes, color manipulation, Kuhara filter, histogram tools, bevel smooth, directional distance. Enscape 4.1 released. Chaos has announced the release of Enscape 4.1, including Enscape Impact Beta for Windows, Chaos AI Enhancer, artistic visual modes, colored shadows, and more. 3ds Max 2025.2 released. Autodesk has announced the release of 3ds Max 2025.2. New features include support for the SVG file support, allowing users to import and export vector data. The data channel modifier has gained new presets, including features such as inverting soft selections, selecting border edges, hard edges by smoothing groups, open edges, UV seam edges, and more. The USD plugin for 3ds Max has been updated to version 0.8, now supporting the use of USD cameras in the viewport. Flow retopology for 3ds Max 1.0 has been introduced, designed to simplify complex mesh geometry. The Arnold for 3ds Max 5.7.2.1 plugin includes several improvements such as improved volume denoising, global light sampling support for light linking. Maya 2025.2 released. The headline news is a ML Deformer plugin that employs machine learning to approximate complex deformations. The updated Universal Scene Description plugin for Maya 0.29 now supports the import of USD blend shapes, preserving all attributes. LookDevX for Maya 1.5.0 introduces a ramp node for creating gradients and a typeless node workflow that allows different node types to be connected seamlessly. Arnold for Maya 5.4.2.1 includes new features such as tune tone mapping, improved volume denoising, and better support for light linking in global light sampling.